What's going on, my people? It's your boy FPL Kayman, and I'm back with a brand new video. And this video, we're going to talk about chip strategy. I know a lot of people have been asking me, what's your chip strategy? When are you going to use the TC? When are you going to use the free hit? When are you going to use the bench boost, wild card, etc.? And a lot of people are getting desperate. A lot of the attackers have been disappointing. The likes of Villas and Watkins, Rogers, they've completely killed us. You also have Forest assets. Their manager got sacked. A lot of people have double Forest D. They have Chris Wood. So a lot of wildcards are being popped. I think a lot of the managers, around 3 million managers, already used the wildcard. So a lot of people are, were also asking me when I'm going to use my chip. So in this video, we'll be covering my chip strategy. So without further ado, let's dive in. So as you guys can see, for my game week 5, my team does look fine, to be honest. On paper, I do have 4 at the back. I'm playing with Richard, Konsa, Anderson, Virgil, as well as Salah, Kudus, and Rogers and Anderson. You also have Pedro, and Haaland. The team does look fine. Obviously, there are quite a few issues that I could definitely address. The likes of Rogers, the Villa has been really disappointing. You also have Forest Boys, who's also been extremely disappointing. The likes of Sells, Nico Williams, who I already sold, by the way, last week. And Anderson, obviously, he got DEFCON finally versus Arsenal, as we predicted he would have got in the tougher fixtures. But overall, they've just been disappointing. The manager got sacked as well, so we don't know how much big of a role Anderson is going to play. Will his minutes be managed with Europe, as well as Douglas Luiz also being available? Maybe his minutes does get managed. We do not know. And you also have with JP and Haaland, they're obviously reliable assets. But the concerns, as I said, the Forest and the Villa assets, as well as Kudus, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. So in terms of any wild card or any chips this week, I'll probably be doing nothing. But I am looking to potentially use a chip come game week 6, and that we're going to get into. So now if you move to my game week 6 team on this team planner, as you guys can see, I do have my TC activated. I do currently have penciled in for Haaland to be TC'd in game week versus Burnley at home, and that's when I'm looking at my first chip. And the reason is simple. I think in terms of promoted teams, I think the worst team is probably Burnley, although they've shown a really good performance versus Liverpool. I think City will look at that performance and say they'll probably want to get a first goal in the first half without dilly-dallying too much. And I think that's very important. The minute you get the first goal, then I think the doors will open up. Then maybe they'll be somewhat reluctant to park that bus. It just takes all it takes is one goal, guys. I think if that one goal comes in the first half for City versus Burnley, I think definitely we could see 4-5 easily. And Haaland, the form he's in is absolutely insane. So it does make sense. I think a lot of people are going to be on that, and that'll be the template move to potentially, instead of free hitting in 6, which a lot of people did have penciled in, I think the people are going to use TC on Haaland come game week 6, and that's what I would do if I were you guys. I think he's in insane form, and it's a really good opportunity as well. I mean, Salah, I was considering to TC in game week 4, but obviously he did return 9 points, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for double-digit return. So there is a potential for Haaland to get double-digit return, as he did bang in 2 goals versus Wolves as well as United. And we can potentially expect to do the same versus Burnley. So that's the first chip I'm planning to use. And moving to the free hit chip, and all of you guys are asking, when will I be free hitting? If you guys look at my team closely, I do have 2 transfers planned in potentially. This is one of my plan A's, that if I was to free hit, potentially I'm looking at free hit 7. The reason why I'm looking at that is, if you guys look at my team, I am planning to do 2 transfers come game week 6, and that includes selling Mohamed Kudus as well as selling Rogers, who does play Fulham. Rogers does have a somewhat tough fixtures. However, Kudus has an easy fixture in Wolves at home, but I still think he won't do anything. Like, he blanked versus West Ham was even also horrible. So I'm looking at bringing potentially Dewsbury Hall, who plays West Ham at home, good fixture, as well as Palmer, who plays Brighton at home. I think I'll only do this move if Palmer does look really good. He came off the bench and scored a goal, and he got like 6-something points with bonus point as well. He could have scored another goal as well, to be honest, in a matter of 30 minutes that he had versus Brentford. So he does look really sharp. But I still want to see him, because he did come back from an injury. I want to see him versus United. If he does look really good, I'm potentially going to be on free hit 7 as one of my plans. And I'll probably bring Palmer for Rogers and sell Kudus for Dewsbury Hall. And in terms of long-term strategy, if you guys to look at this team, in game week 7, Palmer as well as Salah, they play each other, Chelsea versus Liverpool. I think 3-7, there's quite a few benefits to it, especially it's quite team dependent. Like, if you own a lot of Liverpool as well as Chelsea assets, I think it's a good opportunity, especially if you don't have any Arsenal assets or United assets. I think some people may not have that. If you do have that, if you're in that such a situation, I think 3-7 does really work well, which we'll get into and look at. So now let's look at game week 7 free hit draft. So when you look at this team, guys, it does look really, really good, really strong, to be honest. You get to target Villa assets when you sell them in game week 6 when they play Fulham. It's basically essentially a switcheroo. You get them for Sunderland in game week 6 in my case, sorry, in game week 5 in my case, and then you sell them when they play Fulham in game week 6, which is I'll be selling Rogers, and then I get them back up when they play Burnley in game week 7 in terms of Rodgers as well as Watkins. I also get triple Arsenal in Gabriel, Saka as well as Gyökeres. I also get to pick up the best Spurs assets, i.e. Van der Ven, i.e. Xavi, as well as Vicario. My original team in game week 7, I would not have any Spurs defenders, and I do want to get that defense because they've been keeping clean sheets for fun recently. And Mings, to be honest, he's really good for DEFCON, and I don't see Burnley, to be honest, considering our Villa Park. And they've been quite solid defensively, although their attack has been suffering severely. And Rodgers could be anyone. It could be Mitoma, who plays Wolves. Really good fixture. I target any of the Brighton mids, to be honest. Mitoma, Mente, depending on who I really like. And to be honest, I don't personally want to play with Brighton at the moment because you don't know who's going to start. All the Mitomas know his ceiling is not as high. Depending on who does look good, though, to be honest, I could obviously man and make, switch around. Potentially Rodgers instead of Rodgers. I could have Ahmad. I could have Mitoma, as I said. There are definitely so many fixtures that you can target. Like United playing Sunderland at home. You also have Arsenal playing West Ham at home. You have Spurs playing Leeds away. You also have Villa playing Burnley at home. And you have City playing Brentford away. Like, there are so many fixtures to target in game week 7. And I know people are going to have good, somewhat decent team in general. It's just that the fact that I have no United when they're playing a promoted team is the fact that I have no Arsenal when they're playing West Ham at home. It makes it much more appealing. I did have one asset from Spurs, which in Kudus, but I don't really like him. I think Xavi Simons might have a higher ceiling. Or I could even go for an asset, someone else, like maybe a Johnson, if he does look really good and sharp. So it's really flexible. And the good thing about this strategy is the fact that I get to ditch the assets that play with tougher fixtures and pick them back up when they have good fixtures. And also, when you look at Arsenal's fixtures, the minute they play West Ham, yes, in game week 7, and then followed up with they play Palace as well as they play Fulham, which are not easy fixtures, and I don't want to hold them for those two fixtures. Same with, I would say, Liverpool. Like, Liverpool's toughest fixture, I think, in the next 5 is probably Chelsea. So if I can drop them for Chelsea, well, I don't think there will be high scoring, to be honest. It's really good strategy, to be honest. It works really well. And to be honest, I can keep Haaland. I don't have to captain Haaland. I can captain Saka, Gyökeres, as I said, whoever looks good. And Haaland is just, I think he still has a good ceiling when he's playing Brentford away. But overall, I think this team looks really strong with double Spurs D. You have Arsenal D, you have Villa D, you have Mbemo, Xavi, Rodgers, Saka. It's really strong. To be honest, the bench is kind of dead. If I'm being honest, I don't think there's any playing players. I can potentially get King, who does start for Fulham, and maybe downgrade Vicario to Henderson. That's one of the options I can consider to have some bench depth, but I don't think that's very important. But overall, this feed does look really good. And as I said, it could be very flexible. There are so many assets to pick up and target. And I do think it might work for some people. It might not be for everyone, but it could work for some people. So yeah, now let's look at my game week 8 team and see how it looks from game week 6 to game week 8. So as you guys can see, for game week 8, it doesn't look too bad, to be honest. Yes, I'm playing 2 Burnley defense, but they're not that bad defensively, and they're playing Leeds, who can't seem to score from open play at all. You also have Richard playing Bournemouth at home. It's a decent fixture. Virgil playing United at home. Really good fixture. I also have a 1 transfer made in this week. I did sell Concert to bring in Tosin, who does play Forest away. And I do not rate Forest under Ange at all. And I think they probably can keep a clean sheet in that fixture. And to be honest, I can go for anyone. It could be a 5 million defender. It doesn't have to be Tosin, but it's just a placeholder for now. But depending on who does look good, I can definitely upgrade that spot. And then I still have Reinders as well as Salah and Palmer. The only negative about this strategy is that you are kind of forced to play these enablers every week, i.e. Reinders and Anderson, which are not terrible, by the way. Reinders is a really good asset. Anderson is good for DEFCON, so it's not terrible. Obviously, Drisbuher is a tough fixture, so maybe I'll bench him as well. So like, I can rotate these enablers around. It's just that one thing about the strategy is if the big guys are not delivering, you're going to suffer a lot, and that's the risk with it. That's why I don't want to commit to this strategy unless I see Palmer is really back and he is on form, and he's going to play in his natural position in the right wing. So yeah, there's a lot to see, but this is one of the plans I'm currently looking at, and this chip strategy does work. In terms of bench boost, I'm currently looking at potentially after my second wildcard or just before it. At the moment, I'm not settled on it. I want to be flexible, and to be honest, there's much more time to do it. Like, I don't have to use all my chips in this early on, but for now, I am looking at TC as well as free hit in the first 10 game weeks, and bench boost can potentially wait. Wildcard, I do have penciled for game week 13. But again, we could be flexible depending on how the team performs. We could even pop it earlier. So I don't want to lock those 2 chips in yet. I'm looking at obviously TC as well as free hit. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. The team does look good. Even moving forward, if I show you in game week 9, it's not that bad. In game week 9, it also looks good. To be honest, like, if in game week 9, if I chose to sell Haaland, I could do that as well. I could pick up the Arsenal boys, but they play Palace in game week 9, so I don't want them for Palace. So I can probably get the Arsenal boys back up in game week 10. So I could drop Haaland in game week 10 if I wanted to and pick up the Arsenal boys. It is really flexible, guys. I mean, if you look at Salah's fixtures, for example, it turns as well. So it's like, it does make sense. As I said, I'm not locked in, but A is a draft that I'm looking at that gives me a premium draft. and I don't see much downside to it except if the big hitters start to disappoint. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the ship strategy for TC Game Week 6 as well as 3 and 7. Does that work for your team? Do you have a lot of Chelsea as well as Liverpool assets? And do you want to dodge that fixture in Game Week 7 where they do play each other and potentially keep them long term? There is an argument that obviously a lot of people are making to potentially sell Salah in Game Week 6 for Haaland and go with maybe Haaland and Palmer structure, which I think is fair if you don't believe in Salah and you think that he's going to go, just because having a really bad stretch at the moment, he's going to continue to have that, which I don't personally believe. I think he's going to definitely turn around in terms of getting better performance as well as getting more GA. Although he's not looked really good on the eye test, which he never does for me anyways, he's still been giving you GA, so I don't see much reason for concern, although the eye test is there to suggest that he's not performing to the level we expect, but still he's delivering when we're captaining him, so I don't have much concern to sell him yet. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you like this strategy? Will you be free hitting Game Week 7? Will you be TC in Game Week 6? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Peace out.